Welcome back. This is Bajillion 34. 34. This is my 34th video, y'all. 34th video. And like I said in the beginning, there's going to be a turning point. There's going to be a turning point when you see me turn this video on and I got a big smile on my face. And today is one of those days. It's Friday. I'm off today. I'm not going to whip. Well, I'm off right now. It's 8:09 in the morning. And I just put together a playlist. So if you want to watch these videos from the beginning, you can go to my playlist videos and watch 1 through 33. 1 through 34. If you don't want to start right here. As you can see, I got my robe on right now. I woke up this morning. Like, outside is like 68 degrees or something like that. It's pretty chilly outside, y'all. I got my coffee. This is my, second cup. And I got my number one dad cup. And I'm about to pour up some water. Let me see if I can change this here. Hello. Is that better? I think that's a little bit better. We'll see. And I'm about to pour up my water here so I can have some lubrication for my brain. And what else was I about to say? I'm about to do some work after this, but yeah, I got my robe on because it's chilly outside. It is. Woke up, it's like 68 degrees inside the house. I'm like, goodness gracious, it's cold. Today is October 11th. Anyways, without further ado, we're gonna pick it up where we left off yesterday, man. I think I implemented a lot of things yesterday with Jacob. So let me take a sip. I got my I have my more money incense burning. I gotta buy some more. I'm on my last box. Anyways. Hey, what are you staring at? Someone asked. Daddy, hey, Dad. Huh? Oh, nothing. Just nothing, the man replied after coming back to reality. Now be careful with that big old thermos and bucket. Okay. That big old thermos and bucket making all that doggone noise. Just try to be quiet. Just try to be quiet, said Henry. Shortly after continuing on through the thick green wall of vegetation, the son carefully following behind his father, Henry gave young Jacob the sign to stop. Turning to face his son, the man whispered, "Gator in the pond." He pointed to a section next to the path they were on. The ground showed a fresh trail of mud. The grass was pushed down and still wet from the heavy body of whatever aquatic animal that had gone across. It had been the same spot Shug said he'd seen a young alligator sunbathing the week prior. Going to one knee, the man signaled for his son to come closer. But Daddy, if the trail is still wet, if the trail is wet, y'all remember I'm looking down, but I can't hardly see the keyboard. But Daddy, if the trail is still wet, wouldn't that mean that the gator is out of the water? Asked the boy. The father smiled at his son as a feeling of pride came over him that only a father could know. Jacob was a straight A student whose biggest issue in school was being a disturbing element, is what the note said. Is what the note read. Is how the note was worded. Is how the note was worded. Is how the note was worded. Maybe I'll change that later, but anyways. Next to other words from Mrs. Hughes. Jacob's science teacher requesting a meeting from the parents. Throughout the school year, he'd often get letters sent home by agitated teachers complimenting the parents on a job well done, but also complaining. Should I say agitated? He'd often get letters sent home by teachers. I won't say agitated because I'm saying they're complimenting, so it's kind of contradictory. Ooh, it's getting hot, y'all. I can't do this any longer. That coffee mixed with, I got the heat on, got the coffee going, and I got a robe on. I gotta come up out of this. I gotta come up out of this right here. Yes, sir, Baba. Yes, sir, Baba. Gotta come out of that. No. Let me throw this over there somewhere. This thing here feel like it's about to combust. Spontaneously combust. About to catch fire on camera. Anyways, let's get back to this. Like I said, I'm in a good mood. I good spirits. I got a little energy this morning. I got to do some things at my mom's house. I got to do some things for work. I got to do some yard work, garden work, but I feel good. Last Saturday, if y'all hadn't seen the video yet, me, my youngest Baba, and my uncle, we made another pile of compost, and we may make another one this weekend. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, we worked our butts off. I did most of the work, and they know it. And then my brother, he did the next most. And then my uncle, he just chipped in when he could. But my uncle's almost 70 years old, and but so anyways, we worked our butts off, and today is the first day I actually feel kind of good. I'm trying to get back in working shape, y'all. I'm trying to get back in working shape. For anybody that's in your 40s, 50s, even 60s, even 70s, you can take it slow. Take it slow. Do something, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep the motion going. You see what I'm saying? So my job basically consists of me doing more driving than anything and standing in one spot than anything. So, but for the majority of my life, my working career life, I was a heavy equipment mechanic, meaning bulldozers, tanks, MRAPs, heavy vehicles. I'm talking heavy forklifts. And then I transitioned and I started doing a little bit lighter work, but that was even hard because I was climbing up and down vehicles, MRAPs, up and down, pulling cables and all that stuff. So my entire career has been physical labor, and now I have a job where I drive the majority of the time. And then, like I said, I can stand up for 5, 6, 7 hours just standing, no break. Yeah, so my legs are nice and strong, but as far as the entire body workout, that's something that I got to do on my own, and I urge people to move, get in motion. And by the way, I don't have fruit, and I hadn't had fruit in a while, but I had a huge salad yesterday from a Roper downtown. A huge shout out to Miss Mercy. She gave me a discount on a salad. It was a chicken Caesar salad. It was good. It was good, but I don't think I'll do that again. That salad was huge, and it wasn't fresh. She gave me a discount because they were about to throw it away, and like me, I love a deal. It wasn't fresh, but I didn't get sick. I was going. Anyways, I'm rambling because I'm full of coffee. This is my second big cup. Okay, let's bring it back from the top. Okay. Hey, what are you staring at? Someone asked. Daddy, hey, Dad. Huh? Oh, nothing. Just nothing, the man replied after coming back to reality. Now be careful with that big old thermos and bucket making all that doggone noise. Just try to be quiet, said Henry. Shortly after continuing through the thick green wall of vegetation, the son carefully following behind his father, Henry gave young Jacob the sign to stop. Turning to face his son, the man whispered, "Gator in the pond." He pointed to a section to the path they were on. The ground showed a fresh trail of mud. The grass was pushed down and still wet from the heavy body of whatever aquatic animal that had gone across. It had been the same spot Suge said he'd seen. It had been the same spot Suge had seen a young alligator sunbathing. I won't say young. Yeah, I'll say young. Seen a young alligator sunbathing the week prior. Going to one knee, the man signaled for his son to come closer. "But Daddy, if the trail is still wet, wouldn't that mean the gator is still out of the water? Wouldn't that mean the gator is out of the water?" asked the boy. The father smiled at his son as a feeling of pride came over him that only a father could know. Jacob was a straight A student whose biggest issue in school was being a disturbing element. Here's how the note was worded. It was being disturbed. Okay. Excuse me. Being a disturbing element. That is how the note was worded next to okay. A student whose biggest issue in school was being a disturbing element, according to a letter sent home by a teacher. That is how the note was worded. Okay, I don't want to make this a run-on sentence. Jacob was a straight A student whose biggest issue in school was being a disturbing element, according to a letter sent home by a teacher. That is how the note was worded next to other words from Mrs. Hughes, Jacob's science teacher, requesting. Okay. Gotta try to fix this. Those words stood out. Next to other words from Mrs. Hughes. Okay. Take a little sip. Take a little dip. Take a little sip. Excuse me. The father smiled at his son as a feeling of pride came over him that only a father could know. Jacob was a straight A student whose biggest issue in school was being a disturbing element, according to a letter sent home by a teacher. Those words stood out next to other words from Mrs. Hughes, Jacob's science teacher, requesting a meeting with the parents. Throughout the school year, he'd often get letters sent home by teachers complimenting the parents on a job well done but also complaining about how the boy insisted on asking questions that came at various times and sometimes long after the lesson had changed. Mainly, the issue was that the questions went too in depth. And more than once, he'd called the teacher out on a contradiction, like when Mrs. Hughes wore a gold cross, but taught so passionately about how man came from monkeys and how the universe was formed by some huge random explosion. Coincidentally, the fishing trip they'd finally gotten around to had been postponed due to an incident that occurred just before school ended for the summer break. He'd been placed on punishment after his parents had to meet with his teacher and the school principal after Jacob asked publicly if she believed in Jesus Christ. Yes, you do have a point, son, but if you stop overthinking it, you'll see how I know she's back in the water, said Henry, before pointing to a section surrounded by... Now, you guys got to remember, I'm not a professional voiceover. I don't read my books out loud, ever. I don't do that. I mean, no, I don't do that. When the camera is not on, and I don't have a headset on and mic in my face, I'm doing all this in my mind. And like I said, I'm not a professional voiceover, so I'm just doing, this is one giant experiment. It's either going to go really good or, it's not going to do what I want it to do. And that's fine, because I think I said this yesterday. Worst case scenario, I get a book out of the deal. Best case scenario, I get a book out of the deal, a best-selling book, and a video series on how I made that book. Either way, I'm fine. So y'all got jokes and stuff. I hear the voices. He can't read. Anyways, yes, you do have a point, son. But if you stop overthinking it, you'll see how I know she's back in the water, said Henry before pointing to a section surrounded by briars where a bundle of rubbery eggs were all grouped together. Daddy, those are... Yep. Now let's keep moving and keep your voice down before that mama come to see who's bothering her nest. Okay. I'll be extra quiet. I'll be so quiet, you'll think that I left and went back home. But I'll still be right behind you. I'll be like a soldier moving through the... Boy, hush. I get the point. Just look at that. Just look at the water. Just look at the water for anything floating on the top, like a log or something. We're not going to kill her, are we? Asked Jacob. No. But I don't want her to kill us either. The two trekked on, making their way around the circular pond, traveling clockwise through briars and thick hedge bushes on the look for rattlers, water moccasins, and mama alligators. They moved. I don't have to put they moved. Finding a spot on a high berm where the tall grass didn't grow and a musky smell dwelled, maybe the resting spot for a pack of wild dogs, father and son began setting up camp. Looking across the landscape, they both scanned the black, greenish, water back and forth as the sun climbed higher over the tree line. Varying beams of light was causing the 2-acre body of water to appear as though one tremendous sheet of dark diamond. As Jacob came down from the berm and stood just in front of the sparkling mass, he casted a wavering image of a nearly 5 feet tall, chubby, dark, almond-colored boy. He stood there, mesmerized by the moving image. "Jacob, what are you looking at?" "You see something?" asked Henry from the hill. "Nope," Jacob replied, just looking at how Nope, Jacob replied, "Just looking at how handsome I am." The boy smiled. "Boy, if you don't get your silly butt over here and put bait on this hook," Henry laughed. "Okay, I'll be right there. Just looking at myself, that's all." Looking at yourself. Just looking at myself. Just looking at myself, that's all. So sometimes they're going to say looking, sometimes they're going to say looking, you know. Looking at yourself. Now, why in the world would you be looking? Would you be looking at that ugly mug? You better be looking. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of lookings here. You better be looking out for that gator before she comes out and bite your foot off, just like you were joking about. Just like you were joking about earlier. As Jacob continued to look down at the water, at the waving water, he asked, "I'm little for my age, ain't I, Daddy?" Comforting his son as best he knew how, Henry replied, "Boy, hush. If you got any bigger, you'd be as big as me. You're going to be big like your mama. Your sister takes after me." All right, so that was a struggle, man. Listen, I will continue on with the video series. I will continue on, but I can understand why people wouldn't want to watch this entire thing. You know, oh, excuse me, that was my stomach. Because it's brutal. The writing process is brutal. Creating an entire book is brutal. I was thinking to myself, like, I used to watch Bob Ross videos when I was a kid. You know, Bob Ross, the white guy with the big red afro, and he would say, happy trees, and he would paint an entire campus in 30 minutes, and he would always finish just in the nick of time. And you look back and you'd be like, how in the hell did he do that? He just had like this. He didn't really use a lot of brushes. He had like a what do you call that? A putty knife, you know, and he would use that knife like a metal like scraper thing, and he would be scraping and making these cuts, and then, you know, every now and then he would get out a brush and just put some blotches for, you know. And when he was done, it was like you could see exactly what he's doing. Well, that's what I'm doing, except writing an entire book. It's a whole process that takes a lot of time, a lot of concentration, a lot of imagination, and that's what it is. So I'm gonna stop it right here. I know people are like, the few people who are watching, I think I got up 28 views on one video, and I'm thankful for that. That's the most I got so far. But I listen, I said earlier, this is either going to be a disaster as far as the video series goes. It's either going to be a disaster, or I get, it may turn into something nice. It may. But for right now, this is what it is. And me starting over from the top, 10 times if I have to, that's what it is. That's what it is, y'all. So I'm gonna leave it right here. Y'all leave a comment. I urge you to leave a comment, and continue to watch when you have the time. Like I said, I have a playlist now, so now you can actually just go from 1 through 34. It's probably gonna be like 2,000 videos if I had to guess before if I continue. It's probably gonna be like 2,000. And I don't care. I have the time in the morning, but I know this particular story means a lot to me, man. if y'all hadn't been following along, this story was started in 1999, Phoenix, Arizona. 130 degrees outside. Me going through a whole transition. I had just got out of the military, just got out of the Army, fresh out of the Army. I got out of the Army in April. I started writing this story in June. June. I was contemplating starting a family. Wasn't really sure. A lot of stuff was going on in my life. A lot. Really quick. I'm talking fast. One day I was in the Army. Next day, I was thinking about, going back to California, Bakersfield, to start a family. And it was like, okay. I didn't have any furniture. I had roaches. That was my only friends inside the apartment. And when I say roaches, I mean thousands of roaches. Like I said, I got robbed the first day in Phoenix. It was, when I say 130 degrees, y'all, anybody ever lived in Phoenix, Arizona, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not exaggerating. 130, So my stomach is growling, so I got to go out here and I got to get some things done. Y'all, be blessed. Thank you for stopping by. This is Anthony L. Kelly, and I'm going to try to have a higher energy when I do these videos, but I can't guarantee that. Like I said, this is the first day I felt somewhat decent since last Saturday. Saturday is when I went out there and I did. Let me show y'all a couple more. Right here, I'm gonna put a video up. Hold on a second. Hold on. All right, so this is my brother, my youngest brother, and my uncle Rob. We building the compost. We're building the compost. Another bin. We had just built that bin, and we started, and we was doing a little drinking out there, but we was working mostly, drinking a little Bud Light, whatever. But we were doing more work than anything, and and y'all see that Budweiser thing there? That's an old. I might have had 2 or 3 beers that day. I don't drink a lot, y'all. But anyways, that's what we was doing, So, but it takes a lot to fill that thing up. A lot. I'm talking a lot of work, because you got to go and find the leaves. You got to rake the leaves up. Then you got to put the leaves in the wheelbarrow, then bring them back, pour them in there. Then you got to put the coffee on top of that, because, I got a lot of Starbucks. But that's what we were doing last week, and I might do it again this week. So, well, actually, I got to go out and do something similar to this in my yard. Anyways, so y'all keep moving. This is Anthony L. Kelly. Till next time, man. Y'all be blessed. Hit that like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. I'm out.